My name is Tyler, 35, and my wife, Jessica, 33, and I have been married for 7 years. I thought we had a good life together, not perfect but stable. We had a nice house, decent jobs, and a solid group of friends we hung out with regularly. One of those friends was Mike, 36. We had been close since college, watching games together, going on trips, and even being in each other's weddings. I trusted him completely. Maybe that was my first mistake. That night was supposed to be just another game night. Mike came over to watch the big soccer match with me. Jessica was never into soccer, so I wasn't surprised when she barely paid attention. She poured us some beers, made a few jokes about us being obsessed with sports, and then disappeared upstairs. Or at least that's what I thought, because she never actually left. She was still in the house, with Mike, and while I was sitting on the couch, cheering for my favorite team, they were betraying me in the next room. I was glued to the screen, completely focused on the game. It was an intense match, one of those nail-biters that kept you on the edge of your seat. I barely noticed when Jessica left the room. Why would I? She never cared about soccer. Mike, though? He had been sitting next to me the entire time, drinking his beer, making comments about the game. Then suddenly he got up. "Be right back, man," he said casually, setting his drink down. I barely acknowledged it. My team was about to score. But then, a few minutes passed. Then 5. Then 10. And that's when I felt it. Something was off. Where did they go? I glanced toward the kitchen, expecting to see Mike grabbing another beer or Jessica cleaning up. But the kitchen was empty. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I muted the TV for a second, listening. And that's when I heard it, a muffled noise. A voice. Jessica's voice. It was coming from down the hall. The door to our guest bedroom was slightly ajar. The light was on. And then, I heard something that made my stomach drop. A laugh. Low. Intimate. Not meant for me. The kind of laugh Jessica used to give me when we first started dating. I sat there, my heart pounding, my mind racing. No way. Jessica was my wife. Mike was my best friend. This couldn't be what it looked like. But there was only one way to find out. I stood up and walked toward the door. My heart was pounding. With every step toward the guest room, my mind raced with excuses. Maybe I misheard. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe. Then I heard it. A hushed whisper. A giggle. Jessica's voice. Breathless. "Shoo." He's still watching the game. The blood in my veins turned ice cold. I stood outside the door, my hands clenched into fists, staring at the small gap where the door hadn't fully closed. My brain screamed at me to turn around, to pretend I hadn't heard anything, to go back to the couch and let ignorance protect me. But I couldn't. With one deep breath, I pushed the door open. The betrayal. And there they were. Jessica. My wife. My best friend. Caught in the act. Jessica was sitting on the edge of the bed, her hair messy, her shirt slightly unbuttoned. Mike was standing too close, his hand resting on her thigh. The moment they saw me, they froze. Jessica's face went pale. Mike took a step back, like that would somehow erase what I had just seen. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. I had spent the last 20 minutes cheering for my team, while my wife was sneaking around with my best friend under my own roof. "Ethan," Jessica started, but her voice wavered. I held up a hand. "Don't." My voice was calm. Too calm. Because inside, I was about to explode. Jessica's eyes were wide, her mouth opening and closing like she was scrambling for the right words. Mike, he just stood there, rubbing the back of his neck like some nervous teenager caught sneaking out past curfew. "Tyler, man. It's not what it looks like," Mike blurted out. I laughed. A short, bitter laugh. "Oh, really?" I crossed my arms. "Because it looks like my wife and my best friend were sneaking around behind my back." Jessica snapped out of it. She stood up so fast that the bed creaked. "Okay, let's just calm down," she said, her voice too smooth, too rehearsed. Calm down? She actually thought she could talk her way out of this. "Tyler, nothing happened," she said, taking a step closer. "We were just talking." I glanced at her half-buttoned shirt. Mike's guilty expression. The fact that they both looked like they had been caught in a crime scene. Talking, I repeated. That's interesting. Because I could have sworn I heard you tell him to be quiet because I was still watching the game. Jessica's face twitched. For just a second. A crack in the mask. You're overreacting, she said, folding her arms. Mike and I have been friends for years. Do you really think I'd do that to you? I stared at her, my pulse hammering in my ears. I think I just caught you doing it, Jessica. And for the first time, she had nothing to say. Jessica and Mike stood there, completely trapped. I could see it in their faces, the desperate scrambling, the silent pleas for me to believe their lies. Jessica was the first to switch tactics. Tyler, listen to me, she said, her voice suddenly soft, pleading. You're upset. You're jumping to conclusions. I swear. Nothing actually happened. Mike nodded quickly, eager to back her up. Yeah, man, it was just stupid. A misunderstanding. I narrowed my eyes. A misunderstanding? I repeated. So tell me, Mike, why did Jessica tell you to be quiet? Why did you both look guilty the second I walked in? Mike swallowed hard. Jessica's fingers curled into tight fists. She had one last card to play. The blame game begins. You know what? Jessica's voice changed. The fake sweetness was gone. Maybe if you actually paid attention to me instead of your stupid soccer games, I wouldn't have to talk to someone else. There it was. The classic deflection. I stared at her, completely speechless. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. You're blaming me for this? Because I was watching a 2-hour game. Jessica folded her arms. I just think if you cared about our marriage as much as you care about sports, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. I actually laughed. Oh, we're not having a conversation, Jessica. I took a step back, shaking my head. I'm done talking. Her face flashed with panic. Because for the first time, she realized I wasn't playing her game anymore. Jessica's smug expression faltered. She could see it in my face. I wasn't yelling, I wasn't arguing. I was done. Mike, still standing there like an idiot, cleared his throat. Tyler, man, don't throw away our friendship over this. I turned to him, completely stunned by how pathetic that sounded. Our friendship, I repeated. Mike, you slept with my wife while I was in the next room. What part of that sounds like friendship to you? Mike looked down, suddenly fascinated by his shoes. Jessica, realizing I wasn't going to buy into her little guilt trip, switched gears again. Tyler, come on, she said, stepping forward. We can get past this. It was just a mistake. I stared at her, amazed at how easily she said that. A mistake, I said, shaking my head. You don't accidentally sneak off with my best friend. You don't accidentally tell him to be quiet, so I don't hear you. She opened her mouth, but I cut her off. You're not sorry for doing it. You're just sorry you got caught. Her face twitched, because she knew I was right. Jessica had played every card she had, and none of them worked. For the first time, she had no control over the situation. And that was the moment I knew I was really done. Jessica's face twisted in frustration. She could feel it. Her grip on me was slipping. Tyler, please, she tried again. Don't throw away our marriage over one mistake. One mistake. She said it so casually, like it was a small error. Like she had forgotten to turn off the lights, not betrayed me in my own home. Mike, still standing there awkwardly, chimed in. Look, man, I think we should all just take a breath and... I turned to him, my voice calm but firm. Mike, get out. He hesitated. Tyler. I said, get out. Mike looked at Jessica, as if she could save him, but she was too busy staring at me, realizing I wasn't backing down. Without another word, Mike walked out. The second the door closed, Jessica rushed toward me. Baby, listen to me. I stepped back. Don't call me that. Her eyes widened. You're serious. More serious than I've ever been. Her breathing picked up. The panic was setting in. Because now, she knew she had lost me. Jessica's breathing shallowed. She had played the denial card, the blame game, and the fake tears. None of it worked. And now she was desperate. Tyler, you're really going to end this over a mistake? She asked, her voice shaking. I just stared at her. You keep calling it a mistake, Jessica? I said, shaking my head. But mistakes happen once. You made a choice. She grabbed my hand. We can fix this. We're married. That means something, doesn't it? I pulled my hand away. Not anymore. Her eyes widened. For the first time, she realized she had lost control. And that's when the real her came out. The final act. Her face twisted in anger. Fine, she snapped. Walk away like a coward. But don't come crawling back when you realize no one else will love you like I do. I actually laughed. Jessica, you don't love me. I grabbed my keys. You just loved that I trusted you enough not to check what you were doing behind my back. She opened her mouth to fire back, but I was already walking out the door. And the moment I stepped outside, I felt it. Relief. I walked out of that house and didn't look back. As soon as I got in my car, my phone started blowing up. Jessica. Tyler, please come back. We need to talk. Jessica. You're making a mistake. Jessica. Can't we at least try counseling? I ignored them all. She wasn't reaching out because she was sorry. She was reaching out because she lost. By the time I got to my brother's house, I felt something I hadn't in a long time: peace. Jessica's last attempts. For the next few days, she tried everything. First, the apologies. Jessica. I hate myself for what I did. I'll do anything to fix this. Then the guilt trips. Jessica. I can't believe you're throwing everything away over a stupid mistake. Then the anger. Jessica. Wow. Guess you never really loved me if you can just walk away so easily. And finally, silence. What happened to Mike? Mike? Oh, he didn't get off easy either. Word spread fast in our friend group, and nobody wanted anything to do with him. Last I heard, his girlfriend left him and he ended up moving away. Good riddance. And me? I moved on. Started fresh. No more lies. No more manipulation. Just freedom. And I've never been happier. Months passed. And you know what? I never missed her. Not once. Jessica thought I'd come crawling back. She thought I'd forgive, forget, and pretend it never happened. She was wrong. Jessica's final message. One day, out of the blue, I got one last text from her. Jessica. I miss you. Can we talk? I stared at the message for a few seconds. Then, I deleted it. No reply.
No closure.
Nothing. Because she didn't deserve closure. What I learned. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Cheaters don't regret cheating. They regret getting caught. Walking away is the best revenge. Jessica lost everything. Her husband, her reputation, her comfortable life. And me? I gained everything. Because nothing feels better than knowing I walked away from someone who never deserved me in the first place. Thank you for staying with me. This crazy journey is finally over and I'm ready for what's next. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more interesting stories. And leave a comment with what you would do in this situation. See you in the next videos.